Hello, my beautiful and wonderful friends. Welcome to another episode of New World Anarchy. It is Sunday, April 26th, 2020. First and foremost, I hope you guys are doing well. I hope you guys are happy and healthy in these trying and most certainly interesting times. These are certainly interesting times. Now, normally I don't do videos on Sundays, but because there's so much going on, I figured that I would share as much information as I can to you guys because there's a lot going on. Well, to begin with, our agricultural sector is crumbling. It is literally taking a bigger beating than the Hulk did in the Avengers Endgame from Thanos. So that is what's going on right now. It's getting pretty serious, you know. The United Food and Commercial Workers International Union comes out and says that meat packing plants responsible for 10% of all beef and 25% of all pork have closed, which is an astounding figure. So just imagine 10% of meat processing plants that account for 10% of all beef and 25% of all pork have closed. And this union, the United Food and Commercial Workers Union, they account for 80% of all food processing production workers, which is that is a significant and astounding figure. And two of the largest, I'm pretty sure you guys know about one, Tyson, another one being Smithfield Farms. So two of the largest meat packing companies, corporations, they've come out and they've stated that they are closing their largest facilities. So Smithfield is the largest pork producing processing plant in not only the country but in the world, and they have closed their largest facility in the country, which is in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. And that, and as well as Tyson coming out and closing its largest meatpacking facility, that is basically going to have reverberating effects. It's going to have ripple effects that will just go and vibrate throughout the country, and that's going to cause more unemployment, more layoffs, more furloughs. It's going to cause more people to have less. So there's going to be less supply of these meats. There's going to be the demand continues to skyrocket. Okay, because there's no more restaurants anymore. Restaurants are closed, but the supply will fall. It's going to fall down dramatically, and the union, the United Food and Commercial Workers Union has come out and stated that 13 people have reportedly died after contracting the virus, and an additional 5,000 food processing workers have been infected from the virus across the nation. So this is just going to have a very, very large impact on the entire sector, the entire agricultural sector, and most importantly the consumers, because our most important sector in not only this country but in the world as humans is food, and the agricultural sector is by far the most important sector in our society, in our civilization. And that being wiped out by the coronavirus as it continues to ravage on, as it continues to infect more people, as more people are falling ill to it, you're going to have a dramatic decline of workers in these facilities, in these meatpacking facilities that will be working. So if you had anywhere up to 5 to 15 employees, roughly, 5 to 15 employees, that will decline dramatically. You'll probably have around 1 or 2 people, and what that happens is that's going to have such a big impact on the entire packaging, distribution, the form of the meat, and the timing, which is also very important. So it's going to take a longer time for this person to package and to process and to distribute the meat. instead of 5, 10, 15 people doing this when you have one or two people. So it'll be harder for them, and it'll be harder for the president of these of these companies, of these corporations, Smithfield and Tyson, and so many more. They'll have less profit because they have less people working. They won't be able to process as much meat and distribute as much meat. And like I said, this is going to have a ripple effect throughout the entire nation, because when one facility, meat processing facility, shuts down, that has ripple effects to other ones, because they're all connected. It's like an interconnected web. So when one shuts down, the other one is going to shut down as well, and it's going to have ripple effects everywhere. Consumers are going to be faced with such a high premium for these meats, especially pork, especially beef. And let's face it, we as Americans, we love pork, we love beef, we love chicken. That is, we have such a high demand and desire for meat. That is our favorite choice of food for most people. I mean, yeah, there's a lot of vegans, there's a lot of vegetarians, don't get me wrong, but when that happens, when you have such a low demand, sorry, not low demand, when you have such a low supply, you're going to have such a high demand. That is going to cause a very, very massive surge in inflation. Inflation is just going to skyrocket. It's going to go to the moon, if not Mars. It's going to be meat prices are going to triple, if not double, but they're going to at least double, and most people can't afford that. So you're going to have less meat. There's going to be massive food shortage coming to a grocery store near you. And I'm not trying to scare you guys. This isn't fear porn. I'm not here to make your day worse or anything like that. These are just facts. Look up this information yourself on the web. I'm not just sitting here and just pulling these facts out of my butt. These are just the way it is. This is just the way it is. So as more facilities, as more meat processing facilities continue to shut down, you'll have less. There's a massive food shortage coming, and this is going to cause inflation to skyrocket. This is going to cause people to be more weary of the state of our economy. As you know, there's Smithfield Farms has 40,000 employees, and once they get furloughed, laid off, once that happens, they're not. I mean, how are they supposed to feed their families, right? I mean, what we're facing right now is you're gonna have people that are gonna be transitioning from meat to other foods, because when you can't find meat, you're gonna have to find something else to eat. Well, are you just gonna starve to death? No. So you have to find vegetables, you have to find fruits, you have to find beans and rice and honey and all these other things, and that's gonna skyrocket too. That's what's gonna happen. The transition doesn't mean just because, okay, there's less meat, that everything else stays the same. More people are going to move on to other means of food to substitute the meat for. So there's going to be more panic buying. That's going to increase. You're going to have more people buying. You're going to have more people buying beans, rice, honey, flour, vegetables, and fruits, and all these things. And prices for that is going to skyrocket just as much as meat. So all these other facilities that produce that produce all these other foods that we consume, they're gonna have the same pressure as these companies for meat, and it's gotten to a point that's so bad that these meat packaging, meat processing facilities have reached a point in which they have such a high influx of piglets and cows that they are left with no other option, because there's no space for them to move around, and they can't process or package the meat. So they have all these pigs and cows that they're going to be euthanizing. Which is, yeah, I mean, that's pretty depressing. You know what I mean? That's very depressing for most people. There's going to be a lot of cows and pigs that are going to be euthanized. And you're not going to be able to have the demand, the supply for that meat as well. But aside from that fact, most most of the economy currently right now is faltering more and more day by day. You have 44 states now that are implementing $600 paychecks for unemployment. So 44 states, the only 6 states that are not implementing this $600 additional payments weekly would probably be Connecticut, Ohio, Wisconsin, Washington, Kansas, and Idaho. So these are the 6 states that are not implementing these $600 additional benefits to unemployment. And if you think about it, that's practically communism. We have entered communism right now. That is our current state. There's no more capitalism. Capitalism is long dead and buried. There's nobody working anymore. Most people are not working anymore. So what you have now is you have a state of welfare. That's what you have. You have a state in which people are sitting home. They're collecting $600 additional benefits from the government, and they're making, to be honest with you, half of Americans right now sitting at home watching Netflix while watching Tiger King or watching Keeping Up with the Kardashians or watching Teletubbies or whatever else that they watch, they're making more money now than they were being employed. So, which begs the question, why would they want to return to their job if they're making more money sitting home smoking dope and drinking alcohol than they would if they were to go out and work and wake up every morning? I mean, that's just stupid. That doesn't make any sense, right? So of course people are going to want to sit home and collect free money from the government. I mean, who wouldn't, right? It's free money. You can do anything you want with that money. Some people, you know what they're doing with that money? They're buying stripper poles. A lot of people are buying dildos. A lot of people are buying tigers. Yeah, that's what they're buying with their stimulus checks, most Americans. While your dollar is continued to devalue more and more each day, there's no such thing as free money. It is debt. The money that you receive in the form of dollars from the government every week or the stimulus check, that is debt. It is nothing else because the government has no money, okay? The Federal Reserve prints that money out of thin air. That's how they get the money. And they supply it to you and the corporations and everybody else and every other entity. So, when people aren't working, when the agricultural sector is crumbling, when manufacturing is crumbling, when real estate is crumbling, when automotive is crumbling, when unemployment continues to skyrocket, your dollar is being devalued more and more every day. So that explains the reason why you're going to have such massive inflation in food and meat and water and everything else that is a necessity as of now in our modern day. And that is going to cause a lot of civil unrest. I can almost feel it at this point. There's going to be a massive uptick in a lot of things because of this fact. People are just not going to sit idly by while all this is being done to them. So just be aware of what's happening. I want you guys to be well informed about what's going on because there's going to be a lot of things that are going to be happening moving forward. Food shortages being the main thing. That will cause a lot of uptick in crime and just a lot of civil unrest. But most importantly, you guys take care of yourselves and be kind to one another.